Yeah, absolutely. Look, what we're seeing is you're seeing that in the stock market and actually in the fundamentals as well. So if you look at the relative performance of semiconductor stocks, all of them actually, not just Nvidia, relative to say software, the software companies are the ones buying these AI chips. So their spending is what's driving the share prices of Nvidia and other companies up. Whereas what revenues are going to generate from this AI software still remains to be a question. And so you've seen a massive divergence between the performance of these stocks. In fact, it's the highest relative performance of semiconductors to software in the last 2 decades.
Yeah, and one worries though that, when you reach this height that Nvidia has reached, one worries about when it perhaps will go a little bit lower. Do you think that those bets against it then are pretty much warranted, having seen its meteoric rise?
Yeah, it's a difficult question. I mean, Nvidia is really pushing the pace, right? They've just been at a massive conference. They've announced a new product cycle. They're doing a product cadence of once a year, a new product, which is really, really fast for competitors to keep up. They're trying to cement the ecosystem. I think the fundamentals are very bright. I mean, the stat that really blew my mind is that the forecast cash flow for Nvidia for next year, or for 2026, is higher than Microsoft. And so the fundamentals are keeping up for this stock, but of course, as we know, there's going to be a fight between the bulls and the bears in the market.
Yuri, fascinating conversation so far. Is the product that Nvidia is offering better than the rivals? I had quite a robust debate with Karen yesterday about this. Is it a better product, or actually is it just a product that the buyers have to buy because they're being locked into an ecosystem and don't have any alternatives?
That is a great question. I think there's definitely a debate out there. I think the competition is trying to catch up. I think this idea that you're going to invent ASIC chips that are specifically focused on AI, I think we're still early in AI's development. So you need the flexibility of a GPU. So I think those are maybe further ahead and further down the line as competitors. But I think the truth is they have a very, very strong ecosystem, particularly around the software in terms of developing these chips. And I think that's going to be hard for competitors to break.
Does, again, our debate yesterday evolved. Does having a strong ecosystem make them monopolistic and worthy of an investigation from regulators? Or actually, is it just they were first? Like Apple, they have a very strong ecosystem. It's just an economic reality of being the behemoth in the room rather than actually having any malicious intent or being a monopoly.
Yeah, so we've got actually a fund that focuses on monopolistic businesses.
Right, is it in it?
It's not actually in it, although it potentially could be in it. The problem is in tech, it's very difficult to say something is a monopoly. Things change so fast. I mean, if you think about it, we're 1 year down, roughly 1 year down since ChatGPT burst on the scenes. Since then, Nvidia's share price is up 600%. What I'm trying to say here is that things change very, very quickly.
You've just said something, well, you said many fascinating things. You have a fund that just looks at monopolistic companies. Is this, is this a short that actually they're monopolistic, ergo they're a bad thing? Or it's a long fund, i.e. they're monopolistic and that they have such a dominant position, ergo it's a good thing?
Yeah, so we look for companies that have tangible, strong moats, as defined by Warren Buffett, and part of that is the dominance of
monopoly.
monopoly
In terms of a dominant position rather than an illegal monopoly.
Correct, yeah.
Right.
Wow. Actually, you're quite right. That is very interesting. When does software catch up? I mean, you speak about how the semiconductor stocks, have beaten software by 47 percentage points in the last 12 months.
I think the key thing for them is to show when they can start to generate revenues. Remember, these are companies that are serving loads of corporates and have lots and lots of customers. It takes a long time for them to turn that ship. And so once the revenues start to flow from all of these generative AI initiatives, I think that's when software starts to catch up in this trade. Remember, semis have come out of a bear market as well. And so their setup, which was quite positive actually for the stock market, or for those particular stocks.